Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, I wish this comment would have been left for me last month, so at least it could have been a good old Black History Month episode. But no, overall, so recently, yeah, I did the podcast episode where I was talking about how I've dealt with racism and just overall dealing with racism, more so for a up and coming content creator. But I can't remember if I did say that in the episode where I'm like, it can be used for any situation. If I didn't, I meant that, but I just didn't say at the time. I should have, regardless. But no, yeah, I had got a comment underneath that podcast episode on YouTube where the guy was pretty much, and I guarantee and I promise you, he's not a black person. So that's why I'm like, fam, for you to make an assumption or a statement, whatever you want to call it, thinking that you're speaking on all black people, what you say is facts and all that, that's just something that I feel that needs to be understood throughout this episode, is that you, whoever you are, all right, whether you are black, whether you're not black, you do not speak for all black people. And that's just facts, all right? That's something where it doesn't even take me to say some stuff like that. That's just something that everybody knows, all right? You, the person next to you, it can even be the spokesperson for black people. And I don't even know if that's even such a thing, but yeah, you overall don't speak for all black people. But no, that's overall what the person has said, was like, oh, pretty much they were saying that all black people are criminals. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how do you even know that? That's the thing where it's like you see a person's video for the first time and then you automatically just think that you know them. You know everything about them. Fam, I can tell you this right now. The only time where I've had a run-in with the law is when I'm playing a video game. And then if I'm like on some like actual real life stuff, nodding my head at a cop, like, what does that count as? Oh, well, and I feel like he would say some old stupid stuff like that. I'm like, oh, well, you still had a run-in with the law. Fam, they were minding their own business. I was minding my own business. We went our separate ways. At least for me, I know that when I go out and about, I don't be causing trouble. But the amount of times where I've seen body cam videos on YouTube, like reacting to them, and I've seen where it's been other races involved. Yeah, and I've seen some videos out there, and I feel like people would ask that question. It's like, oh, but have there been black people involved? And yeah, of course. I'm like, that's the thing, though. Well, not everybody, but I'm more so saying like every race that exists in this world most likely done been arrested. It's like whether it's a white person, a black person, a Hispanic person, a Native American person, an Asian person. Did I say Asian person? I can't necessarily remember, but anyways. But yeah, all races. There's been at least one bad apple in that race that have been arrested before. That's also facts. But I can say for myself that I've never been arrested. So how does that overall fall in line with what you just said? And it's something that I ain't gotta hide. It ain't something that I'm like, oh, I'm trying to. No, if the thing is this, if there was ever a time where I was arrested, I wouldn't be afraid to talk about it. I've talked about so many other different things throughout my podcast, my YouTube channel, my Twitch channel. I ain't talked about stuff from my childhood, stuff from my teenage years, my adult years, things that recently happened to me. I have absolutely nothing to hide. So why would I hide me being arrested? It's something where I'm like, I wouldn't be embarrassed by it. I'm like, it happened. So I'm like, whatever the case may be, that's the case. But it's just something where I'm like, I don't get why there are people in this world where it's like you have something like, I guess like against another race. And I'm like, fam, what have they done to you? That's what I'm more so trying to figure out. But it's like, why do you feel the need to like, oh, I've dealt with one particular person in that race, therefore I can speak on the whole race now? No, you haven't. That's like seeing the one clip of a movie and then saying that, oh, I've seen the whole movie. You haven't. That's like listening to the intro of an album and then saying, oh, I listened to the whole album. You haven't. And it's crazy because like you say things like that and then people, it just goes in one ear and out the other. And then they're like, nope, not hearing it. I have my mind made up. I know everything about everybody that exists in this world. You don't. And just because you say that you do, it don't mean nothing. It means absolutely nothing. That's like me saying I'm a superhero. I'm like, is there facts that I'm a superhero? It's like, when have I done some superhero things? I'm not. So yeah, it's just something where I'm like, when I see things like that, where people, they get on social media and then they just talk for whoever. And I think that's what I'm gonna be more so talking about in this episode. It's like people talking for others. And it's even outside of like talking about races. Like I've seen where if like for an example, it could be a man or a woman talking about the opposite sex, saying like, oh, oh, women ain't this or men ain't this. And I'm thinking to myself, you've most likely have met like what, a few, like a handful of men or women, whoever it is, where yeah, you've had bad experiences with them, so therefore you speak for everyone. No, you don't. Or even I've seen where people there say something about like content creating. They're like, oh, content creators is toxic, this and that, YouTubers is toxic. I'm like, I don't know you, so we can't have some sort of I guess like our minds made up about who the other person is. I don't know you, you don't know me. So it's just somewhere I've dealt with it for so long though, where it's like people, even just talking on myself, where people have thought that they've known me for some odd reason because they've seen a YouTube video or heard a podcast episode of me, or they joined one of my streams. The thing is this: I wouldn't be able to tell you guys my whole life story within a few minutes. So when people have like their minds made up of who I am, I'm like, you watch the video about me and you know everything that you need to know about me. Like that's what I'm trying to figure out. And it's funny because I've called people out on that, and then they'll try to like flip it and say, oh, well, I'm not saying I know you, but you're acting like it though. You don't have to say it, you're just acting like it. So I'm like, when you make these videos talking about me or talking about something, my race or whatever it is, my profession, you think you know everything that there is about me because of what, one video, two videos, three videos. Still, even then, it's like you still don't know nothing about me. The funny thing is that I could do a whole series of videos where I'm telling my life story, but I'm like, there's still more to be told. I'm like, I'm only 28 years old, so it's like, I don't know what the future holds for me down the road and stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, it's like, I don't even know how my whole life is gonna go about, because I'm still young. I still got, life in me and things, so yeah, it's just something where I'm like, man, I wish people would stop doing that, just because you have like one bad experience. And even talking to that guy, I'm like, you've seen what, probably one, two, a few, maybe, I don't know, but you've seen some black people be get arrested before, and therefore they're all of us. Like them few black people you ain't seen get arrested, like they represent all of us. So I'm like, because they got arrested, that means that I've been arrested. Yeah, it's things like that where I'm like, man, it's crazy. It really is crazy, because I'm like, I don't know what people have been through in their life, because I feel like that everybody in this world done had the same experiences, where it's like you might have had one bit of bad interaction with a person, but it's like you have a choice on what road to go down. It's like, okay, overall, like, yeah, have anger and aggression towards that person when you don't really need to, but you would rather go down the road of, oh, I'm just gonna have anger and aggression towards like a whole group of people, and they didn't do anything to me. That's the part that confuses me, because I'm like, fam, I can say for myself, like, yeah, I had a lot of bad interactions. I had bad interactions with white people, Hispanic people. I'm trying to think if I had any bad interactions with Asian people. It's like, yeah, I had bad interactions, but my thing is this: if I haven't, I know that I will at some point in time in my life. But that's the thing, though. I'm not going to call out a whole race or be all like, oh, well, because I got into it with this one Asian person, therefore I don't like all Asian people. And I'm like, it's just things like that where I'm like, man, and it's funny because it reminds me of this coworker I used to work with, where and I don't know why he would do this. This was more, I don't know, that guy, he was kind of weird. But anyways, it's not, I guess, like, I don't know, I don't feel like it's really off topic. I feel like it is still staying on topic, but just kind of going to another part of the topic and things. But anyways, so there's this guy that I used to work with where he had like some weird fetish with Asian women. I don't know what his deal was, but I'm like, man, but he just automatically assumed that like all Asian women were interested in him. And I'm like, fam, they are not. I'm like, that woman is married. That woman is like, she's 20 something years old. You're like 40 pushing 50. I'm not trying to disrespect OG, but I'm just saying it's one of those things where it's like, she don't look like the type that, dates far beyond her age and stuff. Then again, I don't know her, maybe she is, but it's just one of those things where it's like every time when an Asian woman would come through, this is that cafe that I worked at in Seattle, by the way, but anyways, every time an Asian woman would come through, he always had to shoot his shot. And I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, you gotta chill, man. Like, you gonna mess around and catch a case. And I'm like, that's gonna be on you, bruh. Like, ain't none of us gonna be able to help you on this one. But and that was another thing too. Like, anytime when an Asian woman would come down, he'd be like, he always would say that, oh, I speak a little Japanese. And I'm like, fam, that woman's from South, like her origins, like she's Korean. That woman is Vietnamese, and that woman is let me think of another Asian race, Filipino. And I'm thinking to myself, like, none of them speak Japanese, and they were all born here. So like, my thing is this: if there is anybody in their family line that does speak Japanese, it's probably far down the family line. But I'm like, their parents is Filipino, them parents is Korean, and them parents is Chinese, any other, Asian-based race and stuff. Why do you assume that they all, care that you speak a little? Oh my God, like, bro, I remember there was a time, because I was cool with a lot of the different customers. So like, anytime they come down, I just start cracking jokes with them and all this stuff. And I'm like, and it was like that with everybody. It wasn't like, I was going to be shooting my shot too. I was like, the funny thing is like, even though I had, was like very open and would have conversations with everybody that worked there, I still kept to myself. I wasn't, especially at work. I'm like, bro, I ain't gonna mess my job up shooting a shot and things. I'm like, nah, bro. I'm like, it's one of those things where if I feel like it's a shot worth shooting, then yeah, I'm definitely gonna do it. But I'm like, yeah, bro. I'm like, I don't know nothing about these people. I'm like, I'm not gonna be out there shooting my shot with women and stuff. And I'm like, nah, like I said, I ain't gonna mess my job up. I'm like, getting paid good here. So anyways, but I remember there was a time, and he was dead serious. This is how I knew how bad it was. He was dead serious about it, because he had like a notepad and a pen, and he was getting ready to write some notes down. So anyways, there was an Asian woman that walked up to me. I was cool with her, because I think it was, like, she worked on this floor, where it was like everybody on that floor I was cool with. I think so. But anyways, regardless of the fact, she comes down, we start talking. And I can't remember what I said, but she just busted out and started laughing and stuff. I mean, like, cracking up. Like, not tears rolling down her eyes, but it was one of those laughs where, like, she didn't care about the volume. She just let that laugh out. To the point where the coworker, the one that I was working with, he heard it. Now, I wish I can, like, explain to you guys the size of the, of our cafe. Like, if I can explain it, and like, I'm trying to think of a TV show or a movie or something where it's like, it's that distance, but dang, man, I'm trying to think of an area, like maybe the length of, so like, if you guys watch wrestling, it was maybe from the length of where the the commentary tables are at, from like that one side, like kind of like where it's like on the opposite side of the entrance, like that long like entrance way and stuff. But anyways, I would have to say from the commentary tables all the way to maybe the end of the ring on the opposite side. I would have to say like that was the distance. So I'm pretty much where the like commentary tables would be at. He's all the way on the opposite side. And I'm thinking to myself like, okay, it's whatever. She laughed at my joke. All these customers be laughing at stuff that I say. She walks off. Bro comes up to me, right? And he's all like, hey, he was like, what did you say to that girl? He was like, no, I gotta say it for myself. He had a notepad and a pen. And I'm like, I just had to like brush it off. Like, oh man, I wasn't even paying attention. Like, I was just talking, And I was like, that was something where I'm like, bro, that guy gotta chill. I'm like, he seriously gotta chill. I was like, last I heard of that guy, and I'm like, that was something that I wanted to ask management. I'm like, why would you guys send him to an area where there's even more younger women there? I think because we had like a location at a college campus, and I'm thinking to myself like, no, that's gonna mess around and be a problem. If I hear something about that guy and it's in a negative fashion, I'm like, hey, I'm like, it's one of those things. I'm like, y'all should have seen the signs. I was like, that guy, he has some stuff going on. But anyways, I'm thinking to myself like, bro, why are you like so caught up and fascinated? I'm like, it's one of those things where I'm like, man, people need to understand that everybody is different. Pretty much the point that I'm trying to make, everybody is different. Yeah, if there's a black person out there that you done seen get arrested, that's on them. They ain't got nothing to do with me. You know, if there's an Asian woman out there that speaks Japanese, okay, cool, good for her. That doesn't mean that Vietnamese, Korean, and Chinese woman speak her same language, okay? I'm like, they don't even look alike. So it's one of those things where I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? But I'm trying to think of some other stuff. Yeah, it's just, to me, it's just weird when people, they have like this assumptions about races, and I'm like, bruh, that's not the case. I'm like, you can't put us all in that same category. That ain't facts, bruh. So yeah, got some weirdos out there, but if my thing is this, if people be wanting to think along those lines, I'm like, that's just only gonna be bad on their part. That's just stuff that they gonna have to live with. I'm like, you want to have this weird racism towards black people, that's on you. They ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm like, it's just one of those things. The funny thing is though, and I always say this when people make some like racist remark, they won't go out in public and say that. It's like, yeah, you go up to a group of, and I wish, because the thing is this, like, I deleted the comment. And it was funny because they was like, oh, I know you're going to delete this comment too. I'm like, and you are 100% right. I wish I would have went and saved that comment. Man, I'm like, I'm regretting it now. But overall, though, I guess if the person is, because they're most likely a hater. Because if they know that I delete comments, then yeah, most likely they're a hater watching my every move and stuff. But anyways, if and when you do hear this, how about you go up to just like, yeah, random group of black people. Go up to a random group of black people. Record yourself. I want to see this interaction because I know it's gonna be entertainment for me at least. But I want to see you go up to a group of black people and tell them that they're all criminals because of that's just what I think, or whatever you got made up in your mind. You try to explain to them why you think all black people are criminals, and I guarantee and I promise you're gonna find yourself in the hospital, if not worse, the morgue. And I don't want that for you, but that's where you're heading down. Because it's just one of those things where I'm like, when I hear and what's funny, because there's this I was watching this like clip on YouTube. Well, it wasn't a clip, it was like a compilation of clips from the TV show Court Cam. And they were showing when this black kid, he knocks on these people's door. I can't remember what the reason was for. I think he needed to either use their phone or whatever reason. But regardless of the fact, he knocked on these white people's door. The woman opens up the door talking about, why are you trying to break into my house? And I'm thinking to myself, like, ma'am, knocking is breaking into your house? I'm like, okay, whoa, I will never knock on your door again. So she must have started yelling for her husband to get his gun or whatever the situation is, because you see where like the kid's like kind of talking with the woman, then he starts backing off and then running off in the distance and things. And then eventually, yeah, the husband, he comes out, shotgun loaded up, aiming it at the kid, shoots at him. Luckily, thank God he missed and didn't shoot the kid, but he ended up getting in trouble for that, and I'm telling you guys this story because I'm like, this is usually how it ends when people's racism gets the best of them and things. But anyways, and I mean, just, yeah, look at any other story where it's like, somebody done did some racist. Even that one guy that was out jogging and minding his own business, and then three guys, I think it was either 3 or 4 guys, chased him down, shot and killed him and stuff. But anyways, no, that's what ended up happening with the teenager and the guy. So the guy, he ends up getting arrested. He tried lying to the cops saying that, oh, he slipped and the gun went off, forgetting that he has a whole security system surrounding his house. So it very well would have been shown if that kid was trying to break in. But no, kid wasn't trying to break in. He just knocked on the door and that was it. But anyways, you see in the video when he stood aimed, and it wasn't like I don't know how, like, that's a weird slipping if you don't move at all and things. But, and I'm like, and then you talk about the gun went off. I'm like, yeah, there's just at times where I'm like, people's racism, it really, it gets the best and worst out of them, because I'm like, it really does put you in a position where, oh, you think you almighty and powerful and above any other race, but then it also brings out that worst where it's like, it showcases who you are as a person, and then there's just that negative effect that follows afterwards, with your racism. But yeah, he ended up getting years in prison, and the black kid, he's like in college right now, I think they said in Court Cam. But yeah, it's just weird. There's some people out there where I'm like, you need some sort of professional help, but sadly, they don't want it and things. I'm like, yeah, that's why you're gonna find yourself in a lot of unfortunate situations with your racism. But anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service, and peace.